Social Security. Let's talk about it.
Social Security is literally a scam, and here's why. We all pay into Social Security, but about 1/4 of us is not going to have it by 2037. Population issues do have a little bit to do with this, but that's not really the heart of the issue. So the amount you pay on Social Security is determined by the payroll tax cap. I know the topic of Social Security can be a little confusing, so I'm going to try and make everything as simple and straightforward as I can. But basically, the payroll tax cap is the maximum amount of your earnings that can be subject to Social Security tax. So what does that even mean? So the tax cap is set at $169,000. This means if you make $169,000 or less, 100% of your income is taxed for Social Security. Let me give an example to clarify. So say I made $30,000 a year. Social Security tax is set at 6.2%. So Social Security would take 6.2% of that $30,000. And for that year, I would have owed about $1,800 in Social Security tax. However, if I made $500,000, I would only pay tax on the first $169,000 of that $500,000, meaning the remaining $340,000, I think it is, would remain untaxed. So earning $500,000, I would only pay about $10,000 in taxes and Social Security tax, or just 2% of my total income, in comparison to the person who makes $30,000 a year and is paying 6% of their entire income. Because I make more, I would pay less. But their solution is not to make people who make more pay their fair share in Social Security taxes, or utilize any funding from our ridiculous security budget, or the $20 billion we send to Israel every year. They're going to raise your taxes.
Damn. We're starting this off strong, baby. Oh, man. She's right. Maximum taxable earnings each year, 2024, is $168,600. So if you are making more than that, well, every dollar you make above that, your percentage goes down based on your income, on how much you're paying in towards Social Security. So after hearing all that, what's the best case scenario we all need to be striving towards? Make more money. In all serious though, the Social Security tax, as she explained it, as I just pointed out, it's a lot harder on people who are making less amount of money. If you're making over that $168,000 mark, every dollar you make over that percentage that's going towards Social Security of your total salary, your total income for the year, gets lower and lower. To where if you're making $30,000, like she explained in her example, you're getting taxed that full amount. So there's a tax break with the more money you make. Now, for me, what I would like to see when it comes to taxes, I don't like the, if you make this certain income, you get this certain income, you get this. No, I think it's all, to be honest, bull crap. I think there should just be a flat tax. Everyone pays their fair share. Now, there can still be deductibles. If you have children, if you have realized losses in investments, or you depreciate assets, that all stuff could still happen. But I think generally there still needs to be just a flat tax across all income levels. That's how it should be. Just a flat tax. I think the main thing, my generation, who are the millennials, the generation after me, the Gen Zers, we're not even banking on Social Security. Hell, a lot of us aren't even, a lot of people I see in the comments, they're not even banking on retiring because they can't afford to invest in retirement. Like for me, for example, I'm not planning Social Security at all in retirement. I'm not even banking on it. I'm not planning on it being a nice little extra bonus whenever I get there. I'm not. But what sucks is that I'm paying for Social Security now because, again, as I've stated before, our government cannot manage money properly.
Yeah, sure, I'll use any excuse to talk about this, but before Social Security in 1934, roughly one half...
Now, hang on, this guy's commenting, he's making this video for, it says, Social Security is an effing scam that no one ever should have to put into. Now, this guy is pro-Social Security. Let's hear what he has to say.
Half of seniors were estimated to be poor. Most had to rely on family or friends or go to the poorhouse. As ever more seniors paid into Social Security than received retirement benefits, the poverty rate among seniors steadily declined from circa 50% in the Great Depression to 35% in 1959, 25% in 1970, 15% in 1975, to around 10% in 2000, where it's hovered ever since. Today, if it were not for Social Security, the senior poverty rate would be 43.5%. According to this study, Social Security benefits played a vital role in reducing poverty in every state. They lift more people above the poverty line than any other program in the United States. Without Social Security, 22.5 more million adults and children would be poor. It's one of America's greatest social insurance programs. Thanks for watching.
All right, so great point. Poverty levels are lower because of Social Security, and I should say elderly poverty levels because everyone else in poverty who's not in their old age is not receiving Social Security benefits. Now, what I want to have to say to this is that I do agree that this part of Social Security is good. It's nice. Like, if our elderly get to a certain age and they can't afford to live and they unfortunately didn't plan accordingly, well, then, they have Social Security to rely on. It's like an insurance plan for themselves if you don't plan accordingly for retirement. Here's the problem. As I just stated, our generation, Gen Zs, this money's going to run out. And if you think about it, the money that we're putting into Social Security now is being paid out. So we're basically putting money in to pay for other people, not to cover ourselves. That sounds kind of familiar. What is that called? Oh. We'll get to that in a second. I actually saw this on Twitter, and I thought it was incredible. I loved it. The thought of it was just like a light bulb went off. I'm like, why are we not doing this? Anytime we let the government manage our money, everything goes south. It says here, by the time I'm 67, over $600,000 will be paid into Social Security on my behalf. That money would have been worth $1.9 million if I have gotten a 5% return. My annual interest would be $95,000. 5% return. We're not even assuming the average in the stock market, which was 8 to 10% over the past however many years. The government promises me $3,075 per month at 67, which is $37,000 a year. How is this not theft? So what he's stating there is if this money would have went into some interest-bearing account, or let's say the money going into Social Security would have been put back into the market and it would have bought a market tracking S&P 500 index fund, something like that. He's saying, what he pointed out here is that with giving the government his money, that $600,000 that he paid into Social Security, he's only earning $37,000 per year from that $600,000 he's paid in over the lifetime of his income. To where if he would have done it the other way around, earning 5% interest, he would have had $1.9 million, and then that interest would have been paying him out $95,000. So where's all this other money going towards? Where's it going? Is it disappearing? Is it being used for something else? Why is this money not being managed correctly? And why are we not better setting up the money that's being held for Social Security? Why are we not taking care of that? Well, it's because our government doesn't know how to handle money.
This is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible. Because what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have any money. We're dead broke. And then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. We are in huge trouble. In this body, we had better start figuring that out because we're going to have a run on this city here soon, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money that we paid in? I could have put my Social Security money 40 years in tax in the market and probably be worth 8 to 10 million today. But the federal government wasted it. So I'll get
Guys, this is where I'm just like, you hear this, we see it, but there's nothing we can do. I think that's what pisses me off so much is like, I can sit here and I can whine and complain and talk about how the government's mismanaging money and how we're getting taken advantage of. I don't get it. I really do hope as our generations come of age and start taking the spots in Congress, I really hope we do better. I do, because our country right now, we're in some shit, guys. We are in some shit. I mean, the writing's on the wall. There's going to come a time when we look down and we're like, what in the hell happened? And here's the best piece of advice that I can give to everyone. Never, ever rely on the government for your money. Plan ahead for yourself. Plan ahead for you and your family. And what I mean by that is putting money away in retirement. putting money away in investments, making sure you're not living off debt. Live off the money that you are earning. And if you have a habit of overspending when you use your credit cards, don't use the damn cards. If you get to the end of the month and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't afford this credit card bill to pay it off in full because I don't have enough money in my checking account, then stop spending so much. And if you're like, oh, well, I'm not really spending that much, well, go get a cheaper place to live. Shack up with a roommate. Go move somewhere. Move somewhere that's cheaper cost of living. Like, there are sacrifices that need to be made for people if you cannot get by. Go pick up another job. Like, I get it. It's hard, it's expensive, and it shouldn't be this way. But this is the hand we were dealt. This is what we have to do to get by. This is what we have to do to get ahead and make it on to the next day. That's what we got to do. And it sucks. Trust me, it sucks. Like, I hate seeing the amount of money I spend on groceries every single month for, my wife and I and 2 kids. It's ridiculous. I'm ready to get back to old America. Like, I'm ready to get back to a time where you go work a 40-hour-a-week job, you can buy your family a decent house, you can afford groceries, and, get by. Have a good life. But right now, I'm not seeing that. And I think the only way that we're going to get back to something like that is something big, major, catastrophic has to happen in this country. And it's going to suck that we're going to have to go through it. But I think once we go through it and if we get out on the other end, I think everyone will be happy that it happened the way it did. This is what I'm hoping. I get not really hoping for that, but I think that's what's going to happen. And then we'll all kind of have a nice little refresh. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, though. And the best thing I can say, and I say it in probably every video, is to start planning now and get yourself set up so in case something major does happen, you can at least try to withstand the storm. Start putting money away, pay off your debts, spend less, live on a budget. If you're wanting to start a budget, I have a tracker down below in the description. I'll pin a comment as well. It has a budget tracker. It has a calendar to put your bills. Has a net worth tracker to see how much you're worth if you're in the negative or the positive, and it tracks that to see how your net worth is growing as you go along the years. Also has a debt payoff tracker if you're in the process of trying to pay off some different debts. Down below in the description, only $25. You can buy it through Etsy. It's a digital download. Go get it.
Social Security is run like a Ponzi scheme. And every time I say that, I get told, you're going to make old people mad. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm trying to just explain what's actually going on. The money you put into Social Security today doesn't go in an account for you when you retire. The money you put into Social Security today goes to somebody else that is collecting on Social Security. If you did that in the private sector, you would be arrested for setting up a Ponzi scheme. But when the federal government does it, it's okay because they have the legal right to do crap like this. Okay, well, how do you pay for all of these entitlement programs? How do you pay for all this money that you're just sending out? How do you pay for the wars that we're fighting everywhere? Like, how do you pay for it? 3 ways. You can tax it, but that pisses people off. You can borrow it, but the problem is that you get to a point where people don't want to buy treasuries anymore because the interest that they're collecting off of the treasury bonds that they bought is not keeping up with inflation. So why would I invest my money in a government bond that is actually losing me money? The third way is print. That's how you collapse a currency.
Yikes. And guess what we've done a lot of in the past few years? Printed a lot of money. Oh. Guys, I believe in investing. I believe in, hard work and moving yourself and your family forward. But right now is the time where I'm hesitant. I am. Now, I'm still investing. I am, because as the legend himself, Warren Buffett, his famous quote is, "Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful." So right now, with everything sky high, I am a little fearful. But if we do see a major collapse in our economy, that is where people can make a lot of money. But if you're not set up for when the collapse happens, meaning you still have debt payments, you still can't afford your lifestyle, you haven't built up a nice little nest egg of cash set aside in case something does happen, so if an opportunity arises, you can't pounce on it. Now is the time to get set up, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Ponzi scheme. Do you think that's what Social Security is? I'm curious. I love reading the comments in these types of videos. But who holds the government accountable? I mean, I feel like the government's gotten too big for the American people to do anything about it. Like, when do we say, like, it's enough? Like, it's stupid. What am I? I'm just a freaking dude that makes videos for the internet. Oh, goodness. Mom, I hope you're proud. Cheers, guys. That's all I freaking got.